Saturday, December 7, 2013. This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and this is my 1995 Subaru Legacy L Outback. I'm not doing this video to insult anybody's intelligence, but it has been requested multiple times. By the way, Mrs. MDG is perfectly well aware of how to change a tire. She just thinks this is going to be a useful video. I'm going to be changing a tire. So, the first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is, if you can, park the car on flat ground. Anyhow, once you're on flat ground, the next thing you're going to want to do is get the car's jack. Now, I don't know where it's going to be necessarily on your car, but here in the 95 Outback, and forgive the mess, I totally have to clean up this car. I've had a lot of junk accumulating in here lately. In the Subaru, it's here in the left side panel. I'm not sure where it is in the Subaru sedan. And if you have a completely different car, it's anybody's guess. So here's the jack, and the jack handle is actually here in the tool tray, so I'm going to get that out too. The next thing you're going to want to do before anything else is get off the hubcap. Now these Subaru hubcaps are very tenacious. If you have another car, it might be easier. Then again, you might have a car with alloy wheels, in which case you don't have to deal with a hubcap at all. But I have to get this hubcap off. Next, before you raise the car with the jack, you're going to want to just get these lug nuts moving. So, this is what I like to use. This is a telescopic lug wrench, and this is not the original one that came with the car, but it usually makes the job easier. Basically, the idea is just to loosen these, but do not remove them yet. And the reason you want to do this is, once the car is up in the air, if you try to loosen these lug nuts, chances are you're just going to spin the wheel, in which case you'll have to lower the car back onto the ground again. In this case, the weight of the car is going to keep the wheel stationary for you. So, using whatever lug wrench you have, just loosen the bolts of it. Okay, so you have your lug nuts or lug bolts, as the case may be, loosened, but you did not remove them. That's very important. Before you go any further, make sure that your parking brake is set, because you don't want the car rolling on you at all. And in fact, that's probably a good thing to do before you even start this whole process. But right now, stop, make sure your parking brake's on. Next, it's time to put the jack in place. And on the Subaru here, you're going to want to clamp it on the pin. You're going to want to use the jack on the pinch weld right up here by the front fender or near the rear wheel. Since I'm doing the front wheel, I'm going to be jacking it up here by the front. And you're going to want to raise the car far enough off the ground so that the wheel is no longer touching. If you're dealing with a flat tire, you're going to want to raise it up a bit higher than that. Now, once the car is jacked up, you can actually remove your lugs and remove the wheel. If you have a hubcap, it might be a good idea to stow the lugs in the hubcap for the time being. And once your lug nuts or lug bolts are removed, you can take the wheel off the car. And if you're like me and you're changing over from summer tires to snow tires, it's a good idea to mark the tires with a piece of chalk. You know, which position they were on the car. You know, right front, right rear, left front, left rear. That way, when you want to rotate them next or put them back on the car, it's good to know where they were before. So, now I'm going to get my snow tire and bolt it on. And now putting the new tire on is the exact opposite of taking the old one off. You install your lug nuts or lug bolts on by hand. And before you lower the car, you're just going to want to tighten these bolts as best you can with the wrench. You basically want them tight enough so the wheel is not flopping around against the hub. Now at this point, you can lower the car back onto the ground. And now, using your lug wrench, you tighten the wheel bolts as best you can. Always tighten in a star pattern to make sure the bolts are tightened evenly. Now all you have to do is check the tire pressure, add air as necessary, and if you have a hubcap, snap it back on. So this is Mercedes Diesel Guy. Thanks for watching.